WWE announced a major name for Elimination Chamber, plus AEW make changes to the Continental Classic, and the Hardy Boyz' future plans have been revealed. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. Who am I?
Oh, I can't see you, Tom.
That's right. I'm Steve Austin. But we're not talking about him, we're talking about Jonathan Cena, a wabadoo, etc. Big news regarding Big Match John.
That's right, WWE putting on their socials that John Cena will be at Elimination Chamber, saying the time is now. Don't miss John Cena's last time ever in Toronto at Elimination Chamber, after which he will be banned from that particular city.
They finally caught up with him for doing that thing that time.
Elimination Chamber emanates from Toronto, Canada, on March the 1st.
And the march of John Siemens.
Wow! Fantastic.
Can't see that coming, am I right? He's on one today. The march of John Cena's retirement tour goes through Toronto. And it's interesting that they're announcing him so early on. There's no plans in place for what he's going to do there, but certainly going to be part of WrestleMania and the Rumble this year. So why not the Chamber?
I wonder how many of these premium live events Big Spunk Cena's going to do.
Big Spunk Cena, I think, will be jizzing all over the big ones this year. Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania. Because he's going all the way through to December, isn't he? So I reckon we'll see we'll see a big load around SummerSlam as well. And
it's an unspecified amount of time, isn't it? Is it his last year, or is it like his last full year? So I wonder, like, if they'll put him in the Chamber match. How balls to the wall is Seaman going to go on this one?
I think Seaman might really go nuts throughout his final year. He kind of wants to do all the things one more time, maybe one more time in the Rumble, one more time in the Chamber.
It's dangerous though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a very dangerous match. Eric Bischoff told us in 2002, 10 miles of chain, 100 tons of solid steel.
That's right.
Across the human body.
I'm really, really happy that I got to see Cena. I think I only ever saw him once live, but I would have been gutted had I not been able to see John Cena in a WWE ring at some point. It's one of those things, like he's one of the cool ones that you can say you've seen. So I'm glad that I've seen him. And best of luck to John in Toronto.
I've come to the conclusion that I think we might see one more title reign for him next year as well, of some kind of title.
Will they break Flair's record, which isn't really Flair's record, but will they break 16? That's the question. And to me, the match that I want to see the most is John Cena versus Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania.
Oh, you spicy minx.
Rock Roman on one side on one night, and then John Cena versus Cody on the other. I had two massive matches. I wouldn't expect John Cena to beat Cody Rhodes. Will he? No, this is too much, isn't it? This is too much. Will John Spunky Big Boy Cena win the IC title? There's one that he's not done as well.
I can't see at this stage in his career them missing out on an opportunity to do that. Like the idea of him being IC champ and then doing all the belts. It would be frustrating to nobble Bron Breakker.
That's pathetic. That was.
Sorry, mate, I'm bollocks.
AEW made changes to the Continental Classic. What's going on here, Tom?
So, we love the Continental Classic. It started last year, Eddie Kingston winning the inaugural one. This year, they're doing it slightly different. So we had the finals at World's End last year with the winner of the Gold League taking on the winner of the Blue League. This year, we're going to get semi-finals and a final at World's End, and that will be the winner of the Gold League will face the runner-up of the Blue League, and the winner of the Blue League will face the runner-up of the Gold League, and then the winners of those matches will fight in the final to determine the winner of the Continental Classic for 2024.
Who you got?
I think Okada. Just steamrolls the whole thing. He didn't win last year's one. Eddie Kingston won last year's one, and then it was Okada that beat Eddie for that belt, and I think Okada stays the course and retains the title throughout the tournament.
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me. So I think that there's some real, just looking at the lineups, we're in store for some very, very good matches here. It's cool that they're making the change to the pay-per-view as well.
Yeah, I like that. It adds a little bit of jeopardy as well to the tournament itself. And that's coming up at World's End, which is a little while away yet. But we've got winter is coming before that. 2 weeks' time, AEW Dynamite presenting its annual special episode of the show. And it's going to feature an AEW Women's World title match.
Absolutely. Mariah May defending her belt against her former friend, Mina Shirakawa. Their friendship very much torn apart at the pay-per-view over the weekend. Mina delivering a vicious spear off the ramp, bump on her noggin, blood from her mouth. It was a brilliant spot. I thought it was awesome. And actually, for me, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it was a surprise to see it happen there. Yeah. I thought they might keep them together for a little bit longer. I think the timing's interesting on this one. They're not wasting any time. I thought that would just build and build and build all the way to World's End, but we're only going to have to wait 2 weeks to do that. To me, I think put the title on Mina. I
really?
Yeah, I think put the title on Mina because when Tony comes back, she's surely going to be gunning for Mariah May, and there's a feud that doesn't necessarily need the title. If you don't want to put the title back on Tony, but do you want that set up before the Australia pay-per-view as well?
In my head, I kind of thought you have Tony win the belt back in Australia. And Mina come close to winning it back. I think it adds another notch to Mariah May's metaphorical wrestling bedpost to have turned away a challenge from Toni Storm and Mina Shirakawa. And it takes Tony having to come back with vengeance in her heart to actually finally defeat her. Unless in Australia you do a three-way and you do Mina, you do Tony, and you do Mariah. That's a lovely story they've told there.
That's good, isn't it? That might be the way to do it. I still think it's a feud that if they want to do Mariah versus Tony rematch in Australia, I don't think it necessarily needs the belt. Sure, It's bigger with the belt, but enough people are into that feud. I think it's been arguably the best women's story in AEW history. I've loved it. I think they've all been really, really fantastic. And I'm chuffed that we don't have to wait too long to see Mina versus Mariah.
A lot of friendships being torn asunder on AEW lately. It was last night that we saw Mercedes Mone celebrating her recent success with Camille Brickhouse with her arm in a sling next to her. She's been through the wars lately. And Mone was pretty cutting towards Camille, and it looked as if Mone was going to fire Camille. But then Camille did the classic, "You can't fire me because I quit." And off she stormed, presumably to do press for the new wrestling movie that she's in.
Yes.
I mean, to let the feud bubble, etc.
Hopefully, because this Mercedes run so far has not been all that. Let's be totally honest. This relationship between them didn't last that long at all. It's been 4 months.
4 months, yeah.
I think put the belt on Camille. Really, take it off Mercedes, put it on Camille. You may as well make something out of this underwhelming thing. I don't think Mercedes matches have been bad. I really enjoyed the Mercedes match on the pay-per-view on Saturday. In fact, I thought her and Statlander did a really great job. So I'm not complaining about the match quality, but something is not connecting, and I don't think it's helping Camille. To be honest, this association with Mercedes, Camille's awesome.
Yeah.
And it sucks that we're talking like this about Mercedes, this massive big money deal, big star coming into the company, and now I'm talking about her holding people back. It's nuts.
I feel like, and you might think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I feel like I connected more with Sasha Banks than Mercedes Mone. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I totally agree. Totally agree.
You might just think it's just a name, but there's something about the presentation of it that is with Sasha Banks is far more engaging than with Mercedes Mone.
Yep, I don't think many fans are connecting. The reactions that she's getting when she's walking through the curtain are really unhelpful. And you know what? It's unhelpful for the character, isn't it? Because her whole character is she's a star. She's a massive, massive star. She walks down the ramp, crickets. It makes her look delusional. And I know she's a heel and they can make that work, but I don't think it does work right now. So I'd really like Camille to beat Mercedes.
We go.
Fresh start for Mercedes.
Yeah.
She's awesome. She's so good in the ring and everything. She's an amazing, amazing wrestler. but it's not been all that.
It hasn't been, I'm afraid. Let's end with some stuff on the Hardy Boys. There they are, solving mysteries, and the mystery of what they will do next has been resolved thanks to a press release from TNA Wrestling.
TNA saying TNA Wrestling confirmed today that it has re-signed Jeff and Matt Hardy, aka the Hardys, the reigning TNA World Tag Team Champions, as first reported by Sports Illustrated. The Hardys won their third TNA World Tag Team Championships in October, defeating previous champions The System and ABC at Bound for Glory in a full Metal Mayhem match. A few more details from Fightful as well.
Matt Hardy originally came in for a defined number of dates, but decided to stay when his brother joined. Despite becoming TNA World Tag Champs, they weren't under contract until recently. I believe the contract has been signed this week. However, they've agreed to continue working with TNA, and they can work indie dates as well. Just last year, ahead of a regime change, TNA had insisted on many talent being under contract to be used, which has adjusted since. So I think there was a lot of conversations about what talent would be signed and what would be kept to per date deals. I think as the year has gone on, some of those moving parts have changed. But I think locking in the Hardys to a deal, I think, is strong for TNA. I think that whilst I still believe that like a final hurrah in WWE is something that we'll see from them, I feel that they needed to do something to rejuvenate a little bit after what was quite a lackluster run in AEW for numerous reasons: injuries, accidents, hits and allegations, causing the Hardys to not really get the run that we really wanted to see from them in AEW.
It's a shame, wasn't it? I'd be really interested to know how long this contract is for. My hunch is that it's probably only going to be for a year or something, because I think they will go back to WWE. I think they'll come back, they'll be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And I don't, because of the timing of this, and obviously, Matt and Jeff, they're no spring chickens anymore. I think they'll probably come back and they won't have a proper run in WWE. I expect them maybe come back, have a match, do one last crazy bump each or something, and then get inducted into the Hall of Fame and then hang up the boots at some point. But I don't know how long this contract is for, how long they've locked him down for.
Well, whatever happens next, I'm intrigued, and we will keep an eye on it at cultaholic.com. All eyes on Survivor Series this weekend. 9 pitches for Survivor Series on the channel right now. Predictions with this one and Andrew a little bit later on today, and you're watching it live on the weekend as well, aren't you?
I'm nervous, Tom.
Why?
I'm nervous because there's a punishment for this one. It's a big old punishment. You can find out what it is in the predictions video, which is coming up a little bit later. We are starting in style. I think it's a pretty big one, and I really don't want to do it. And it's only a 5-match card as well. They're tricky, aren't they? They're tricky. Let us know your predictions in the comments, and I might steal them, because I'm filming that in about an hour and a half.
And for the very latest wrestling news at any time, you can check out cultaholic.com. Stay safe. Love you. Bye.